Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. Today, we've got 4 great decks for you, including the tournament winner that hit rank 1 on the Infinite Leaderboard. That's right, the same deck went number 1 and dominated the Infinite Leaderboard enough to get to the number 1 slot. Before we talk about that, though, we got to talk about the Surfer list from Nithiel. Nithiel came in second in the Creator's Gauntlet second portion, which was basically a giant ladder portion using the Surfer list. Surfer won the last major tournament. This version of Surfer is one of the best decks in all of Marvel Snap, and more people need to be playing it. More people need to look into this kind of Surfer. It is insanely strong. For this list, you need Gwenpool and Sebastian Shaw. Outside of that, everything is Series 3. Hope can be Sarah, Copycat can be Red Guardian, Gladiator, or Juggernaut. The same thing is true of Nocturne, although not listed. Nocturne might even want to be any of those cards as well. Neither of those are absolutely pivotal for the list, although Rogue and Copycat are incredible meta counters at this exact moment. Hope Summers is a little better than Sarah. It gets you out an extra 3-drop, but both are incredibly strong cards. All right, the basic turn by turn here is very, very straightforward. This one finished in the top 8. As the cat ran by. This one finished in the top 8 of the Creator Gauntlet. Coming in second of the second day, and then it ended up Nithiel did not play this in the top 8 as people mostly changed decks with people knowing what their opponents were going to be playing. So turn 1, you sometimes Nova. You are considering Nova if you have Hope, though, because Hope, sometimes you'll want to go like Forge Brood or Forge Jaw on turn 2 into turn 3, and in those instances, your turn 4 being able to be Hope and Nova is incredibly strong. So you'll have to sort of learn when you want to Nova early versus when you don't want to Nova early. Turn 2, Forge if you have Shaw, Brood, or Hope. If you have Shaw or Brood, it's obviously an important buff, but if you have Hope, you're playing it because it's kind of your only chance to. You're going to basically every other turn that you have time be playing extra 3-drops instead of Forge. So this is your one shot to Forge if you have Hope Summers. Turn 3, you generally want Hope over Brood or Shaw. Hope is an incredibly important card for this list. Turn 4, Gwenpool. If you can Gwenpool on Hope, you are in heaven. If you played Brood, you're looking to absorb man. If not, you're going to play another 3 and Nova. Hope and Nova are still really, really good as a play here once more. If you did not get that Hope out, then you're going to go Forge into Brood or Shaw on turn 5. Or you can play Nova and another 3. Sometimes that's Nova and Killmonger, but fairly often that's like a Nova and a Shaw, and then you can end by a Killmonger and a Surfer. So turn 6 is whatever makes sense with Surfer. If you have 7 energy, sometimes you'll Abs and Surfer. Sometimes if you go Forge and Brood and you got Hope out at an awkward time, right? You got Hope out on 4 and you didn't have Nova, you'll go Forge. Whoops. This cat has apparently decided this is his video. Say hi to Atticus, everyone. So you can Forge and Brood on 5. Then you can, if one of those is on Hope, you can end up going Absorbing Man on that Brood and then Surfering, or you can just go Surfer and then Abs Man. You have to decide which is more power, which one is more likely to win you the game. This is one of the best decks in Marvel Snap. People forget about it because it's been relatively similar for so long, at least since Gwenpool came out, but this is one of the best decks in the game and one worth playing. Right after this, we're going to talk about the thumbnail deck, the Cook, but one last look first at the Nithiel Surfer. This is one of the very best lists in all of Marvel Snap. Again, in my head, in my heart, I consider this the standard working Surfer list. This is like the bog standard Surfer, what you play when you just want to win and aren't concerned with style points. Hey, if you're willing to, we're trying to hit 15,000 subs. We're at 14,500. We want to hit 15,000 before the end of the year. We are doing an amazing job climbing. Thank you so much to all our amazing supporters. If you can help us get to 15,000, we'd appreciate it so very, very much. Hit that sub button if you're willing, a like and a comment. Also tell that YouTube algorithm that we are worth the support. We are worth making sure that that this video gets shown to more people. So sub, like, comment, as long as you're willing. It means the absolute world to us and our videos. In return, we will give you 7 days a week of Marvel Snap content, sometimes with 2 videos a day. We get you the best decks, the fastest of anyone. The number 3 player in the game earlier today talked about how he's running Rogue right now because I featured Ajax in several recent videos, and that shifts the meta. So if you want to stay on top of the Marvel Snap meta, this is absolutely the channel for you. In addition, We give away a season pass every week except for the last week of the season and the first week of the new season, at which time we give away 5 season passes. So this week will be your last chance to win Agent Venom if you're still looking to win that card. So make sure you hit that sub button. Make sure you like, and later in this video I'm going to tell you what to comment to win that season pass. Furthermore, for Agent Venom, we're giving away a couple on our Patreon on the $10 tier. No one has claimed it yet, so if you're looking for that, please feel free. There will be a Agent Venom winner announced later on this video, so stay tuned for that as well. One last thing, right as this goes live, there should be a new Pocket Meta video. I competed in my first Pocket Meta tournament. It was a little 4-person round robin with 3 other content creators, and I won. So we're going to take a look at the budget deck I used to win my first Pokemon Pocket tournament, including actual gameplay from me on that video. So make sure you stay tuned to that as well. All right, so this was the bracket. This was the top 8 of the Creator Gauntlet. In the number 1 spot was Sizer, who fell to Revis. Derek and NH Koru were in some more spots here. NH Koru was able to take out Derek and then beat Revis. He played different decks along the way. We covered his deck earlier. The main deck he played throughout the tournament was the Agent Venom Iron Man Angela list that's been all over the place. Agent Venom Iron Man thena list that's been all over the place. So we know NH Koru's list. He ended up playing different things, including in the finals a Destroy deck as a true surprise. Then we have Nithiel, who we just talked about, who made it to the top 4, beating KX4N in the top 8 and then making to the top 4 and falling to Braude. Braude played Johnson, beating Johnson, one of the best players in the world, then taking out Nithiel and making it to the finals, where he was able to win with the Cook. Braude played exactly one deck from the beginning of the tournament to the end of the tournament, and it was this. Occasional card swaps aside, this is the Cook. This is one of the best lists in the game. Both Barzy and Derek combined to make it. Braude piloted it. Derek is in a current dogfight with Sizer for number 1. Depending on which 5 minutes you ask, either Sizer or Derek may be the number 1 ranked player in the world. This is also what Derek has been playing to climb to that number 1 spot. This is the most epic number 1 showdown we've had in ages, as both Derek and Sizer compete for that spot. Derek with this list, Sizer with his move list that we've covered several times. We'll cover it again relatively soon just to make sure you're still up to date. And then, of course, Braude taking this list to the number 1 spot of this major Creator Gauntlet tournament. So Derek and Barzy made this. Derek was number 1 player ranked on the Infinite Leaderboard the past 2 seasons. He's not a content creator. Barzy has been top 5 the past several seasons. He had a Twitch for a while, but doesn't seem to use it anymore. And first place in the Creator Gauntlet is Braude, which is twitch.tv/Braude. Please go check out our very kind, gigantic friend. All right, so this deck needs Kitty, Hope, Gwenpool, Mockingbird, and Sasquatch. You can sort of try Iron Man for Sasquatch, but it really, really hurts the list. If you're desperate to play the list, though, it's worth looking into. Jeff or Hydra Bob can be Nightcrawler, Silver Sable, Ant-Man. Any of those are fine. Kate can be Jeff or Angela, and Copycat can be Gladiator, Rogue, or Red Guardian. Cool. There are plenty of changes for this list, just as long as you have those first 5 cards. All right, so this is the newest Tier 1 deck. The Tier 1 is fairly well defined at this point. It's the move list, it's that Iron Man list I previously mentioned, and then there's a Wiccan list that runs Quicksilver that's right there with this, and that's like, I think, the pretty clear Tier 1 of decks at this point. We've covered all of them on the channel over the past week. This week will be an OTA. So right after the OTA, the day after the OTA, I will look at the meta. If you haven't seen those decks and you want the full breakdowns turn by turn of those 5 decks, we will have that for you at the end of the week. For this list, Kitty is better than Bob unless Gwenpool, then you play Bob because getting out that 5 power is important, and there's a possibility you won't be able to play a 1 any later. Turn 2 is Kate if you need 1s. That's generally better than Jeff. If you have a reasonably full hand, then you just drop Jeff. Although it's worth remembering that Kate's 1s are very, very useful in making Mockingbird cheaper, and you can potentially play a lot of cards in order to get yourself a nice cheap Sasquatch. You can also at this point drop Mysterio if Sasquatch. Turn 3 is Sasquatch is generally your play if you have access to it. If not, Hope Summers is better than Mysterio, and you're Mysterioing when Sasquatch. Turn 4, you'd very much like to Gwenpool, ideally with Mysterio in hand and a small hand, but you'd very much like to Gwenpool, and if not, you're playing multiple cards on Hope. Because turn 5, you sort of want to play everything you can, so that last turn you can get Mockingbird, Sasquatch, Shadow King, and kind of everything else all in play at the same time. If you get Mysterio for 3 cards, and then you play a couple of Kate arrows, right? That is 5 cards that are all making Mockingbird now cost 1, Sasquatch now costs, sorry, Mockingbird now costs 1, Sasquatch now costs 1. So you've got those in Shadow King for and then you can play another card still on top of those. You just want to sort of go completely off playing as many cards as you can. You want to get everything out. We're going to take one last look at this list, then we're going to look at some high voltage lists and come back with some more decks. So this is the Cook. This is, if not the best deck in Marvel Snap, one of the absolute tier 1 decks, the very best list in the game. It's got play into absolutely everything. In the finals, Koru bringing Destroy would have been this really, really great play, except Shadow King and Super Skrull made that a favored matchup for this. The Iron Man match is taken care of by Shadow King and Super Skrull. The Move match hates Shadow King and has a lot of trouble with just the sheer stats of Mockingbird and Sasquatch being able to be played anywhere. This is an amazing list that has very few bad matchups. It's one of the best decks in the game. Go play it as soon as possible. High voltage. We are nearing the end of this mode. I got my Iron Man, so we're going to start with the list that I used to get Iron Man. Apparently, this list is created by Crazy. I shared it on day 2 as one of the highest stats lists with in the game, and my stats matched it. I'm going to show you what my stats were on the next slide, but this is a fundamentally simple list. Early on, you're happy to play any of the cheap stuff except Maw. You'll play your Havoc, you'll play your Morph, you'll play your Carry, you'll play your Zemo. I tend to default to Havoc, Morph, or Zemo if I'm not worried about necessary, like if I don't have all my big stuff in hand yet, because remember, Arrow can still get chunged. Like if it's a relatively cheap energy turn, I will hold Kara. If it's an expensive energy turn and I can drop like a Havoc and a Morph or a Havoc and a Zemo, that's amazing. I tend to not drop Havoc. I would rather play Zemo or Morph as a general rule, but it could go either way. After that, I'm generally speaking dropping Arrow if possible. If I have the energy to drop Red Hulk or Blob, I will. I'm usually trying to hold alive, but I would if I can't and I'm just playing Arrow, that's totally fine. Arrow is an amazing tool, even on the last turn of the game. It is super disruptive in this mode. If I can't Arrow, Vision is fine. Vision is also fine if I ended up with an Ebony Maw. Baron Zemo does a really good job at pulling opposing Ebony Maws, and at that point, I'm fairly likely to pull a Vision because that is a 20 power lane still. And then I'm ending the game usually with Goliath and Scar, or if I can, Goliath, Red Hulk, and Blob, some combination thereof. And once in a while, if the opponent got big and greedy, Black Panther alone is a really, really sweet target. I'll just drop a Shang there, and if I don't have Prio, I'll drop an Goliath there. And that's usually enough to win the game. Sometimes even Arrow just pulling that Panther away if you have Prio is enough to win, as they drop a Zola on a naked lane, and then you get a free win. There's a million ways to wimp this. It is incredibly strong, incredibly consistent. Do try it out. What the hell? You need for this list Goliath, no Havoc. You can add Luke and US Agent. Baron Zemo can be Juggernaut. Blob or Red Hulk can be Magneto. Kara can be Armor, and Scar can be She-Hulk. I had a 71% win rate with this. I thought I wrote that down, but apparently I did not. And now this seems like a decent place to say our season pass winner. It was Simon Chinette 6613. Please reach out to me through one of our socials, Simon, and claim your Agent Venom card. All right, we also have a red-eyed. Did I write my stats here? No, I just didn't write them. Whatever. It was a 71% in 47 games, and I ended up with the Iron Man variant. That's how I played this list. It cleared all missions very easily. Red-eyed Jedi has this voltage deck that I think is really, really cool. This one is expensive and more janky, but it's so much fun that I had to put it on the list. I was able to give it a try, and it is a strange list, but it is incredibly, incredibly, incredibly fun. I cannot urge you to give this one a try more. Let's actually go through the plays before we look at replacements. So what you'd really like to do is you'd like to get Zabu and like a Madam Web out, Zabu and like a Cosmo out. Madam Web and Cosmo is absolutely incredible together. And if you can get that early Fastos or War Machine, don't hesitate to do so. You just want to get set up. You need that Madam Web and Aranya because you need the delayed turns for 2099. People leave stuff alone all the time. And 2099 with gives you with or without priority because you can choose sort of how to use it. It gives you the kill you want through things like Cosmo, through everything else. It also, if it's hit with Aranya, helps you make that Infinite cheaper. You can also end up like sort of whiffing a little bit on turn 1 and then going She-Hulk. Or you can play Aranya, still end up with enough energy for She-Hulk and 2099, and then you've got that crazy power. That's that's going to give you almost always enough to play Scar and Infinite at the end of the game. You can end up passing that second turn, which seems crazy, right? But if you get big enough on turn 1, you can end up passing on turn 2. Like, let's say you drop an Aranya Cull. You can end up passing on turn 2 and going Infinite Scar She-Hulk, which is just stupid power. There's a million ways to do things with this list that put out absolutely insane power. It's wild. So you can find the Red Eye Jedi on Twitter at Red Eye Jedi. The first E in Eyed is a 3 if you want to check them out. But if you want to watch gameplay for this deck, check out my friend Jonesy Snap 22 at YouTube. He's does the triple threat where he features 3 awesome decks every day. So go check out the triple threat, y'all. This deck needs Aranya and Madam Web for 2099, War Machine, and Scar. Phastos can be Kyra, Armor, or Morph, and Cull can be Crossbones. Those are not your important cards here, although you do lose the ability to call to Crossbones if you on turn 1 if you haven't played that card. So there is that. But this list is really great, and I urge you to check it out. If you want to see all of these videos, please check out the stream team. Today is Monday, so Gregor2424 will be streaming at 12 p.m. Eastern. Go check him out. Obi did not actually stream yesterday. He had one of his friends take over, so you can check out Obi, who will hopefully have a video of that stream as well. All right, next up, we covered this list already, but we have to cover it again because Jet changed it. This is the Peef Hawk update. So we had a lot of different cards. There have been a lot of cards tried out. It turns out this is the White Widow and Armor list. Who would have thought? When you're running White Widow and Armor, you want to make sure that you have 2 really good uses for it. This one has, obviously, armor for White Widow, but you can also have armor for Misery for when you don't want to get rid of your cards, which is absolutely incredible. Retriggering Cassandra Nova, right? And a White Widow is absolutely insanely strong. And if you have armor there, you just get that retrigger without any downside. They now have a -8 that they can't get rid of in a lane as you're just going to frickin' town. This list is insanely strong. This is basically all I've been playing right now. Actually, I've been playing this in some discard just because I keep taking discard missions for my alliance. But outside of that, I've been playing a ton of this list, and I absolutely love it. You can find Jet at twitch.tv/Jet13. Please do check him out. He's a top 5 ranked Marvel Snap player. He was number 2 in last season, number 2 in the previous season, one of the best players in the world, and the single best Phoenix Force player to ever exist in Marvel Snap. For this list, you need exactly 4 high series cards: Darkhawk, Phoenix Force, Misery, and Cassandra, which means if you got Misery, you got Cassandra from Deadpool's Diner, Phoenix Force and Darkhawk are series 4, and Phoenix Force is an old season pass card. So this is one you're relatively likely to have the cards for. Grandmaster is the card many people don't have here. That can be Absorbing Man. White Widow and Nico can be Iceman, Spider-Ham, and Echo. You just want things that you can re-trigger with Misery, and Echo helps you because Cosmo is really annoying and all over the meta. Cool. Also, I'm running Echo in mine off and on because I just got an Echo Godslit. I got gold Rainbow Kirby, so I'm all about that Echo right now. Okay, so 2 players in the top 10 of the Infinite Leaderboard, both Crazy and Jet, are playing this list right now, which means that this is one of the top lists in the game. I think this is probably a tier below that previous list, but it is still an absolutely stellar and insanely strong list, and one I urge you to play. So turn 1, you want Korg over Hood. Turn 2, you want White Widow over Armor over Grandmaster. Turn 3, you want Black Widow over Rockslide over Cass Alone. Then you want Phoenix Force on Cass or Misery on a pile of cards. 2 2s is totally fine here. You can also play Widow alone and Misery on that, then Phoenix Force, and then they don't draw on turn 3, 4, or 5, which usually feels like a pretty good way to win a game Marvel Snap. So you can do Phoenix Force, drop, stop, draw again, especially if you have a demon to play with it, or you can play Darkhawk. Then turn 6, you move Phoenix Force wherever you think it'll win the game. You play Darkhawk with Demon, or Phoenix Force and Armor, right? Or Phoenix Force and Widow. And then you should be able to win. Widow is really, really strong with Phoenix Force on the last turn of the game, when you can be pretty sure the opponent's not going to clog X lane, and then you get a 6 power card to play with your giant Phoenix Force, which is an amazingly frustrating card to deal with. It can hit like a Rock Slide to give that Darkhawk a pump, etc., etc. This list has so much power, and I, again, cannot urge you enough to give it some play. I think this list is one of the best lists in Marvel Snap, and even more than that, it's one of the most fun lists to be created in the game in a long time. Hey, Season Pass question. If you'd like to win that Agent Venom, comment this reply as long as you're subbed. Will you be playing or countering Bounce this week? Tomorrow, we're going to talk a whole bunch about the new card coming to Marvel Snap. It's a Bounce card, but stay tuned for that. Are you going to play it or counter it? Next up, we've got Woody Skrunk. And basically what happened with Scream is I thought Scream was going to be a very good card, and then it sort of didn't work its week. And I warned that people might be Scream might be really good later, right? It because 2 triggers of Scream make it a 211, and that's just like about as powerful as you can get from a 1, right? So what this is this Scream list is absolutely incredible. Scream and various versions of Scream. I'll have another version, another 2 versions actually I have in my stored decks relatively soon. Scream has been doing really well because, well, there's a lot of move and a lot of like smaller move stuff in the meta, and Scream really hard counters that. And just having access to an extremely powerful card is still very good. This is a Clog Scream list from Woody that he's had a lot of success with, so I thought it would be a good time to cover this list because, well, it's really good. And if you have Scream, you should be looking to play it right now because it's an incredible card. We knew this was a possibility, right? It took a while to find the right decks, and honestly, it took White Widow being nerfed for all the junk that was really good against Scream decks to disappear. And without that junk, now all of a sudden Scream is quite good. This is created by YoWoodyMJ, twitch.tv/YoWoodyMJ, to watch one of the most important deck builds of Marvel Snap, play, and create stuff. This deck needs Scream, Cannonball, and Kate. White Widow can beat Debris or Craven. All right, so Scream's win rate is currently spiking. There's a number of low play rate but extremely high win rate Scream decks floating around. This is one. Be forewarned, Scream is on the rise. Turn 1, you want Hood. Turn 2, Scream over Kate over Widow. Turn 3, Polaris of Scream, Viper or Goblin otherwise. Turn 4, you'd very much like to Viper or Goblin with Titania or Miles, or you can just drop your Stegron. Turn 5, you can do Aeron, or you can do Stegron with Titania or Miles, depending on what order you play things. And then turn 6 is meant to be a Cannonball and a 1, usually Cannonball and Demon, because you should have, with between your move and your junk, been able to clog a lane, which means Cannonball wins another. GG's, friend. GG's. This list is very strong, very interesting, and very worth playing. You need Cannonball, you need Scream, but outside of that, this is about as cheap as you get. And you need Kate probably because she's an extra junk card, and she can give you that extra move that can give you that cheaper Miles, and she can give you that extra cards to play with Cannonball at the end of the game, or to get back your Hood, or she can clog. You can just throw them one of the arrows that'll clog them. She's just too good not to have, but this is a relatively cheap deck that has an insane amount of power to it. I cannot urge you to give this a try enough. It plays very well into the current Marvel Snap metagame. Questions of the day, and then we'll be out of here. So our first questions: Models asks if High Evo has been power crept out of the game and what it needs to come back. So Classic High Evo has, but Ajax High Evo is still a real deck. I play it fairly regularly. I play a Derek version, but there's also the Mystery LA version that's floating around. So if you like High Evo, you sort of need Ajax. It is still a competitor, but it is no longer a budget competitor. I think we're at a point where High Evo's original cards, which would be, I lost the name. Help me here. Wasp and Hulk can return to their original powers. I think Hulk especially could really use the buff. Wasp might still be too good, but I think Hulk especially can use the buff because Red Hulk is so often just a better option. But I think that would be what I would do to change High Evo, but I do think it's not in a terrible place. It's just no longer the budget option. That place has been taken by arishem. Archangel 3001 asks my favorite music genres and top artists. Well, right now, the 3 things I listen to most are Talib Kweli, Tom Waits, and Oasis. The Oasis comeback has reignited my love for that band. Talib Kweli is my favorite rapper, and I don't know, I've just been going through a Tom Waits mood. We'll see how long that lasts. I had a Dylan mood, which sort of gave way to a Tom Waits mood, and that's where we are right now. My favorite genres are, generally speaking, hip-hop and 90s alternative rock music. I'm sure there's still plenty of great music happening, but I'm old, and so that's what I like now. All right, certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with honor things. I'm going to say thank you to a whole bunch of people. Then I'm going to go onto the Patreon and pull a giveaway for them. Thank you to Abigail Gieslin, Mandatory Burnout, Regardless, David G. Wingfield, Direwolf, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., I Am Frostman, Jane Everett, Corbin, Primed Ryan, Ryan Burke, Caretix Lee, Koire, Black Dahlia, Pyrofrost, The Goat Seeker, Denman Falcon, Archangel 3K, Hollowed, Quid Pro Joe, The King of New Marvel Snap Card Content, Doc D, Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Ginger Prime, Philip Ratkovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of The Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, X-Force V, and Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist. Wait, Skippy G, it's your birthday week. We're almost there. The King of Bros, bruh, the Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, Woody, Kevsey Hoda, Lunarquist, John Q and Jimmy McHugh, Lonely in Q-Town, Clam, 8th Stage, Mod Supreme Models, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B, The Fuzzy Dunlop, Spectrumix, Hoot, Matt H. Hey, Matt H. Hope you're doing well. DJ Mickey Hedgings, No Freaking Flex, Mr. Ocularis, Craig Sterry, BG, the King of Canada. Go check out his stream, y'all. Jonesy, we talked about him earlier. Two Ties, hope you're doing well. My friend, the great Lauren Debs, the Pirate King Tuccrr, the Homie Min, and of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for. Two videos right here. Check out yesterday's video if you missed it, and also check out our Pokemon Pocket video if you're interested in that game. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate y'all and all your support every day, all day. Sub right below me. Peace.